Hello there. It's your girl Valerie Mason Chase again. And as you can see, we have the Cookie Man here with us tonight. Glad to have you tonight, babe.
Sure.
Well, kind of, sort of.
Yeah. I can go watch my games now.
No, that's all right. So, but the Giants aren't playing tonight, are they?
I lost already. Don't matter. It's still football.
Oh,
they played this morning.
Yeah.
Oh, and they lost again.
Yep.
Okay. So,
Again.
as you can see, it's me and the Cookie Man, and we have our son Jonathan here with us tonight. We are expecting some more guests, the other couple, James and Elaine MacArthur. So hopefully they will be able to get on in a few minutes. So hey, Nicole, and I see someone that just says Facebook users. So I'm not sure who you are. You can put your name in the chat so that I can see who you are. But anywho, oh, our son, Jono. Usually I have the
Hi.
guests in the background and I bring them on and say who's here.
I've been here before. They know me.
But I was caught a little off guard this evening. So, John, tell the viewers
Yes.
a little about yourself.
Jonathan Chase is my name. I'm 39, almost 40 years old. Professionally, my background is I'm in the legal background, an attorney by trade. Married for actually tomorrow is my 4-year anniversary. So
Really?
we've been together. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. And so we're talking about the topic of romance. I felt we need to state that. Liz and I have been together for 13 years now. Long time. But we've been married for 4. So
Wow. Okay. You know what? For some reason, I thought you guys had been married longer than that.
it feels longer. Am I frozen?
Yeah. Nicole
No,
said,
you're good.
Nicole said, happy anniversary to your son. Hey, Jackie, thank you for watching. And oh, I just got a text from Elaine. She said she's using the link that was sent just for them. So I'm not, babe. Could you just talk for a minute? I needed to check in with Elaine.
Well, I got to talk. What do you want me to
The
talk
first
about?
link in the email.
All right. Anyway, so as you see,
that's
technology.
The first link in the email.
Yeah, it's the first link in the email. Okay.
Technology is a godsend, but as you see, it has its issues, and we have to learn to navigate from, which I still don't know how to navigate through half of the stuff. Thank goodness for my children and my grandchildren. They help me get through stuff.
Okay. Yeah, because our granddaughter, oldest grandchild, Sanaya, oh my goodness, she does all of these shorts and whatnot, and she's just so fantastic with it. Okay, she said she's using the link, so I don't know what the problem is.
Okay, I don't see. Okay.
Okay, I don't know what else to do. Maybe I'll try sending the link to her again. Let me just say that to her.
Okay.
Bear with me, guys. I'm trying to get our other guest on here.
Sorry, I'm out at 8.
Okay, hold on.
There you go. Wow.
I got
the game don't start till 8:20, so you got time.
Yeah, I know. I'm messing with your mother. She already blowing.
So copy it. It's copied. Okay, she said it says they're backstage, but I don't see them. Huh.
Tell her to log out and try again. Maybe text her and tell her that.
She don't.
Like exit out.
Can you log out and try again? And I'm going to send the link to you again. Okay, I just copied it. Let me get to my email. Bear with me, guys.
This is how you know we're live when you have issues like this.
I know, right? Okay, and now my computer's a little bit slow. Okay. All right, I just sent it again. We'll see what happened. I don't know why it said she's backstage and I don't see her. Oh, Sanaya and Janae, our grandchildren are on. Sanaya and Janae comedy show. Look at that.
Oh my goodness. Hey y'all.
Hey y'all. I don't know if it's them or if it's their parents. So hopefully, we can get them back on. I don't know if I need to refresh or what, but anywho.
Moving right along.
So what we're talking about tonight, let me just ask her if she could see anything.
No, she already said.
Can you hear or see anything?
Yeah, I think when you're backstage, you could typically see what's going on the show.
Yeah, you can.
Mm-hmm.
Look, I was voice texting and I made a mistake. What I meant to say is, can you hear or see anything? I was voice texting. Sorry about that. For me, that's a lot quicker because I'd be here all night trying to. Oh, here they are.
There we go.
Hey, y'all.
Hey.
Okay.
Hey, John.
I don't know what happened.
Hey, how you doing?
All right.
Hey.
Technology was doing its thing. What can I say? But I'm glad to have y'all here now. So we have James and Elaine MacArthur. So guys, tell the viewers a little something about yourselves.
So about ourselves individually or collectively?
We could do both.
Oh, okay.
Whatever you want to share.
So, like you said, my name is Elaine. Oh, okay. My name is Elaine MacArthur, and I'm James's wife. I'm the youngest of two girls. We have two daughters, 33 and 40 something. And we live in Brooklyn. We're from Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm.
And we are, one is retired, luckily, and the other one is not, still working.
Mm-hmm.
And
we're getting ready to celebrate
our 37th wedding anniversary.
Okay.
This month.
That's right. I remember y'all got married in November. It was cold.
Freezing. Yeah. Freezing. It was freezing that day. Yeah.
Coldest day of that year.
Yeah, man. It was really, really cold. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Well, thank you guys. Thank you guys for being here, and thanks for hanging in there with the technology. I don't know what happened, but
thank you.
I'm just glad that you're here for right now. So, what we're going to be talking about? We're going to be talking about romance, right? And long-term relationships. He always got something to say.
Hey.
Yeah. Well, there's our typically people have thoughts and stories and all that, and there might be some myths that are associated with romance in a long-term relationship. So what do you think are some of the biggest myths in regards to romance in a long-term relationship? And anybody can take it.
Okay, I can take it too.
If you want to go first, but typically I like my guests to go
yeah.
first. What came to my mind real quick was myth that romance has to fade in a long-term relationship.
Yeah.
I don't agree with that. That it has to fade and dissipate. Because like anything else, marriages work.
Yeah.
So as you work on it, it shouldn't fade.
Well, it shouldn't. Shouldn't being the operative word.
That's true. True
that.
It might not be as intense all the way through.
Okay, I agree with you on that one. Yeah.
So maybe go ahead, Jimmy.
And I would have to say that age plays a lot in that too. As you grow older, there's certain things that you used to do you can't do, and then when the things that you wanted to do you don't want to do no more. So I'm gonna say age plays a big part.
Yeah,
that's true.
Okay,
that is definitely true. I would say a myth. A myth, I think, is that, and I think we spoke about this the last time we were on. A myth is that as you age and as you are in marriage, that you guys you really can't enjoy each other. Like the habits that you have becomes boring and stale. And as you get older and as you progress in marriage, you can't have fun, you can't laugh,
right.
It becomes at a standstill. And although that can be the case, it's not always the case. I think that's the myth. You can't laugh and you can't grow with each other.
Okay. Jono, you have anything to add to that?
I mean, I don't have much to add. I don't think I'm as qualified as you all to talk about the myths of marriage and long-term relationships. So I'm not. I mean, I've been with my wife for 13 years now, so it's been a long time for me, but it hasn't been 30, 40 plus years. So I think
Right.
typically the same myth people deal with is like the romance dies out or fades away. That's like the most common one I could think of. I don't think I agree with it. I agree with the general proposition that there may be ups and downs because of like age, children, work, whatever.
Mm,
But if you're, as long as you and your spouse or significant other or whatever the case may be are still into each other, romance won't, it shouldn't at least ever be entirely shut off. It won't be the same. One might not be as frequent, but it should still be something that's part of your relationship one way or another.
yes, yes. And I think that last thing you said is really key. Is keeping it as a part of the relationship, no matter what else is going on. You know,
Mhm.
I tell the couples that I counsel that relationships, marriages go through kind of an ebb and flow, and you're not always going to feel those sparks and all of that. But there are times when you can reignite some passion, right, babe?
Buy a little something, something. You know, try it out. You turn on the button. And
He's crazy. He's crazy.
You know?
Listen, you can't be doing all our business.
But just like you guys are talking about, me and Val had our date night, and I don't know if you saw, she posted. You know, as you get older, as we get older, date night we kind of get home a little earlier. So just like you said,
of course,
age a little bit as you age. You know,
yeah,
you still have fun. You're just not going out when it's still light and coming home when it's light again.
Exactly.
You go out when it's light and come home when it gets dark. You know.
Yeah. So, it's not like years ago when we were younger. We would go out. We typically go a little bit later. We were out yesterday evening, and we we had gone out. We had drinks, and we had a little something to eat, and we were almost ready to come home. And I looked at my watch. I said, "Oh my God, it's only 8:15."
Yeah.
The problem with that, the problem with yesterday, we had been up since 6 already that morning.
Right.
It felt like, granted it was like 8, whatever it was.
Yeah, right.
But we had been up for a long time already, doing a lot of stuff. So, like you said, those bones get a little tired.
Yeah.
So anyway, what practical habits can couples build into their daily lives to strengthen connectivity and connection and intimacy? Practical habits. Toss it out there.
Flirting with each other. We flirt with each other every day, all day. Just little things like that.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think the
I'm sorry. Go ahead, John.
Maintaining that flirtatious thing that goes a long way, because it's as you get older and have other responsibilities, you're not going to have the opportunity or the time, or maybe not even the energy to have the same passion you had when you were younger. But you don't want to lose it entirely. So by flirting and making the other person feel wanted, making sure they know you still have that same chemistry with them, even if it's not as it's not going to be the same. Obviously, been together decades. There's going to be some change, but what doesn't change, I think, is the mutual attraction you have with each other. So you got to make sure your partner knows, I still want you.
Yeah. Then usually
that goes a long way.
Complimenting your partner too. When they look nice or they've done something. Don't. I get a feedback when I talk. I don't know. But complimenting. I would say complimenting those little things. Make sure your spouse knows that you appreciate the little things, that might be taken for granted.
Yes, yeah. And I think, and in the course of a long-term relationship, it can be easy to take your partner for granted, and you have to really be intentional not to, especially after you start having children, and everything. And some people frown upon that word habits, but I like the concept of habits, and practices that a couple builds into their relationship on a regular basis, like kissing when you say goodbye in the morning, kissing and embracing when you greet each other at the end of the day, saying good morning, something as simple as saying good morning to one another when you wake up in the morning.
Even if you're grumbling, I'm going on a bit.
Exactly.
Or that affectionate tap on the tush as you walk by. You know, it's no big deal. You just like, hey, I know it's there. Let me grab it for a minute. I might not see you later. Let me grab it.
Right.
Let me tell you one of the things I do. Elaine leaves to go to work in the morning at like around maybe 5:30, 5:45. I still walk her to the front door. I walk her to the front door, make sure she's getting in the car. I stand outside and look out the window and make sure she's safe until she pulls off. That's every day.
I do you one better, cuz I walk all the way to the door and open the door and sit it down and then walk back out.
When he ain't pissed off at me, he will still come to the door, but he don't always walk into the car if he's upset. But more often than not, he will walk me out to the car. And I think little things like that can make a big difference, a big impact. Because it's typically a lot of times those little things that get overlooked and neglected, that over the course of time, the absence of those little things can start to build up and result in a disconnection between the couple. So there's someone on Facebook that says Facebook user. I don't know who you are. If you don't mind, just write your name so I can just give you a shout out. Thank you for the t-shirt and for saying you like the t-shirts. I appreciate that. So Chase is our last name, and 81, that's the year that we got married.
Oh, 81.
No,
try to be funny.
Of course I know it is. I always say 80 is the year we got married. That's
we didn't get married in 80.
No, we didn't make it legal. But from the day I met you in 80, where you been? Somewhere in close proximity. So
most of the time.
I know, right?
We've been talking about certain things like work stress, children, and other responsibilities sometimes can have an impact on the romantic aspect of a relationship. So how can a couple navigate those things so that they don't lose that connection?
I don't know if we can answer that question because we've been out the game for a minute now.
I got 2 kids at home.
Yeah, John could take that.
Yeah, I can answer that. So I have 2 kids. I think one thing that definitely helps is you two, because you take my kids a lot. So whenever the kids aren't here, that's an opportunity to be a bit more romantic and reconnect a little bit. So I appreciate that if I haven't said it already. Another thing is you just have to, and I think my generation does this a lot, is we work from home a lot, or you don't work actually in the office as much. So you sort of have this propensity to take your work home with you 24/7. You have to be very diligent about disconnecting from work so it doesn't overtake every aspect of your life.
Yeah.
So it's very easy just to open a laptop or open the phone and say, I'm just going to answer this one email real quick. But then that adds up, and your partner may feel rejected or like lose interest, at least temporarily. So you have to make sure you draw those boundaries where if you're having plans with your significant other, focus on them. Don't focus on work and other stuff.
Yeah. That's good. And
that's
good. That's the whole piece about disconnecting from work when you work from home, because now I work from home. All of my nursing career I was leaving home, but since I transitioned to counseling, I do only virtual, and so I'm working from home. I'm working from home all the time. And I just said to Frank this morning, even when I don't have clients, I still find myself a lot of times sitting in front of the computer, doing this and doing that, preparing and sending homeworks and all sorts of things. And I think sometimes do you think that gets in the way with us sometimes?
I'm going to say,
tell the truth,
maybe a little bit. Yeah. But if this was 10, 15 years ago, I'd probably feel more resented that you always here. But now the things we done got older. We got a habit. We done got comfortable. She and me on a what doing whatever. I can watch the game or just sit on the recliner and don't be bothered. So I'm good. I'm good, baby. But every once in a while, I might if I wanted to all that, would have to say, listen, shut it off and come out. Not that I do, because what she does is important, and I guess I struggle with that because I know it's important, and I think sometimes I put my wants or desires, feelings aside because I don't want to interrupt that. Might not be the best thing, but that's the way I operate,
Yeah, well, and thank you for saying that. And I would rather that you come and say something, especially if I'm not in the midst of a session.
Yeah. Sure,
and I'm sitting here and I'm maybe doing session notes, or I am preparing for the following day or something. I would rather come say, hey, babe, come and spend a little time with me.
Okay.
Sometime I might come. Sometime I might say, well, let me just finish this note right here and I'll be right out.
I've heard that. Right. I'll be out there after this next note.
I think that as you get,
go ahead.
I'm thinking as you get older, you have different interests, and by you having those different interests, sometimes that can be distracting, when it comes to that, because, Elaine might be doing something and then, and I'm doing something, and, it just doesn't bring our two worlds together because we're just always busy doing our own things, trying to, navigate through this life thing. So I'm thinking that between me and her is that when she comes home from work and stuff, she's tired, I like to give her her time, and then I have my time because I have my space, and we have two different spaces. Her space is in the house, my space is in the man cave. So she's inside. So that kind of keeps us apart a little bit, which I know I should do better.
Yeah, and I think in fact, I was having this conversation with one of my couples last week about being intentional about inviting each other into each other's world, because we don't always have the same interest. Jimmy's shaking his head.
Not on Sunday.
But see, I disagree. And here's why I disagree, because I don't care. I wouldn't give you a 5-cent nickel for football. But I don't like football, but I love Frank. So I don't mind sometimes coming in the room and watching for a few minutes. I ain't saying for the whole game. All right, I used to.
Y'all can't do that. Y'all can't just come in here and then just sit there and be quiet. What is that? What is this? What they doing? This is why you kick the ball like that?
That is so true, cuz you can't even
say what's the first down.
Can't even peek your head in it. I gotta put the TV on pause. I gotta put it on pause because you asking me questions that I gotta answer, and I'm putting it on pause like, okay.
Yeah, but I think that's cool, because that is him inviting me into his world.
I didn't invite you.
Right.
Well, he invited myself. And then there could be times when he can invite himself into mine, or I invite him into mine. Maybe, he's into football and he's into all them Law and Order and all that. And there's shows that I like that I'm partial to. And sometimes he's there and he hears it in the background, and now he's asking me a bunch of questions, and I gotta pause my show to answer his questions. But I think that's okay, because that's an exchange of information.
Yeah, all right. I mean, sure, but her shows is dumb. It's just one of these crazy people.
Frank, you ever try watching Sisters?
He watches it. I watch Sisters.
Listen, I watched it until the guy in the bank. There's parts of the show that I'll try to fast forward because I watch stuff after it's been recorded. But yeah, I still watch it. Yeah, some crazy stuff.
I can't get into it.
Yeah. Hey, Miss D and Ollie, thank you guys for watching. I appreciate y'all. Hey, Nene. Yeah, me and Jackie were talking about that this morning. About that show, Sisters. I've never watched it. I anticipated some ratchetness, but Jackie said it's not ratchet, so maybe
Yeah.
I'll go and
Nah,
I'll watch it.
I disagree. It's a little.
Is it a little ratchet?
Yeah, I would think so.
Okay.
Yeah,
A
All right.
teeny
But
bit.
anywho,
corny.
Teeny bit.
It's
Teeny
a
bit.
teeny
corny.
bit.
Yeah,
Frank, hey
it's
Frank,
corny.
Frank, when that girl gonna have that baby though?
I
been,
know.
she been pregnant for 16 episodes. She's
The
never gonna have that baby.
bump ain't got no bigger, no smaller.
Oh
Yeah,
Lord,
exactly. She's still the same
y'all
size.
crazy.
She got two daddies that got her pregnant.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Mm.
They
Holla,
need to be on
holla.
this.
how do
They
you,
need to be on this show. They need to be here.
They need to be here. All right, I hear that.
how do you suggest couples approach disagreements or periods of conflict without losing their sense of closeness?
Mm. That's a
Something
good
you guys were talking about earlier was the habits. I think if you
Yeah.
have habits that lend themselves to romance, then you won't fully disconnect when there's some sort of conflict. Like
Mm,
you guys are talking about how you walk each other to the door and kiss each other, good morning and whatnot. Me and Liz do that every morning too. Every morning,
mm-hmm,
every night, got to do a good morning and good night kiss, right? Every
mm-hmm.
every time somebody leaves the house, you got to kiss before you leave. Now I prefer that she does it at the door, but if you're sitting on the couch relaxing, I'll walk over to her, give her a kiss goodbye. That's fine. And I think
Mm,
if you're in some sort of if you're going through some sort of conflict or some issue, if you're still honoring those habitual rituals, then that would
mm,
help you get over it, I think, because it's like a moment where you realize whatever we're going through isn't really that serious. So if I'm still
Mm-hmm.
kissing you goodbye, if I'm still kissing you good morning, still telling you I love you at night, then even though you still might be upset, that might help sort of grease the wheel to getting over the hump, so to speak.
mm-hmm.
yeah, that's good. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it does, and it excuse me, it does because when we have those moments of disagreements or anger, whatever the case may be,
Mm-hmm.
and one of us is leaving or something's happening that we need to follow through,
Hmm.
then I look in the face and I'm like, yeah, just get away with it's it feel like it's already forgotten. Just
Yeah.
like you said, it's already forgotten. I got my kiss
Right, right.
and we on
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good.
our
Yeah, that was a
I like
learning
that.
process. Learning process for me actually, because when we have disagreements, I get offended easily, and I take it to
Mm,
heart. But
mm,
you have to realize like who's your partner. I know
right.
deep down, I know he has a kind heart and he's not out to hurt me. So
Mm-hmm,
when we
mm-hmm.
do have a disagreement, now that we're kind of like kind of further along in marriage, I don't get that offended anymore that much.
Mm,
I learned to kind of like just brush it off and continue communicating,
yeah.
continue talking, and then we get over it. We get over it and then move on. But it was definitely a process for me. It was definitely a
Mm-hmm.
process for me in the beginning.
Yeah. I think it's a learning curve for a lot of people who are in long-term relationships, and I think something that helps is ascribing positive intentions to your partner, even in the midst of a conflict. And like you said, Elaine, know your partner and believe that they have your best interest at heart. Y'all are just having a disagreement right now, but they still love you. You still love
Mhm.
them. You're in it together. Nobody's going anywhere. You may need to leave the room, and maybe even walk around the block. But
Mhm.
reassure your partner, I'm coming back.
Mhm.
mm,
This disagreement is not the end of us. So I think that a lot of couples, not a lot of couples, but some individuals in a relationship struggle with that same thing, and because it's easy sometimes when you're having an argument, especially when certain words are used. And that's why I think we got to be careful because words are so powerful. And once they're out there, we can't take them back.
Mhm.
And when certain words are used, it's easy to internalize that and think that, wow, he doesn't really does he really love me? Does she really love me? How can they say this to me or about me and still love me? So I think also a part of that process is learning to just kind of put ourselves on mute and think about what we're saying before we say it, especially in the midst of conflict, because otherwise a whole lot of stuff can just come flying out of our mouth. And when we want to take it back, we can't take it back because the damage has already been done and our partner's feelings are really hurt. What do you say about that?
I would just kind of end that with saying, be willing to come back and apologize, whatever disagreement is. Don't take it for granted that each other know, hey, I didn't mean it, or I'm sorry about it. That has to be said. And sometimes just saying I'm sorry is not enough.
Right.
Because you can say I'm sorry. I'm gonna say you sorry. I want to make sure you're apologizing for the right thing, for what you might have said and done that. And that's the last week. So of course the communication aspect of that. Hey babe, I'm sorry. What you sorry about? Oh, okay. You know what? Yeah. I forgive you, babe. It's okay. I'm glad you apologized. And sometimes for me, that has been a struggle to come back
and be accountable.
Acknowledge, to be able to go off to the side and acknowledge and say, you know what? Wow. I didn't like the way that went down. And come back and say, hey, listen, I'm sorry this happened.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I said this or didn't do this or forgot this. Acknowledge the issue is of what you're apologizing for.
Yeah. And you've been doing very good with that the last few years.
Well, thank you. I've been attending class.
You've been doing really well with that. So, and I appreciate that. And I do agree with Frank. And one thing I encourage my couples to do is to be specific with your apology. I'm sorry for blah, blah, blah. Will you forgive me? And from my perspective, that's a full apology. Just saying I'm sorry or my bad, those two words, I despise those two words. I hate those two words because they don't mean anything.
They don't mean anything for our group, our age group. They mean a whole lot for people behind us.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, to them it does. Just like when they say, you know what I'm saying?
No,
Hell, I don't.
But saying my bad doesn't mean anything. Because the person that you're saying my bad to, what's the bad? What is it? What do you mean my bad?
Honey,
I hate it.
The people that say that to each other, they know. They know.
No, they don't. I don't believe that. I don't believe they know. I don't believe they know. When somebody says, "Oh, that's my bad," what? No, that's not an apology.
Okay.
But anywho, I'm coming down off my soapbox.
Okay.
I'm coming down off my old lady soapbox. So there's always a lot of talk about love languages, and more often than not, couples have different love languages. So how can a couple, when they have different love languages, how can they bridge the gap between them to make sure that both partners are feeling loved and valued?
I think you have to be very mindful. You have to be very watchful. You have to listen and look. And you got to know what love language is, actually. Right. And you got to know your partner. So it's a lot of observation.
Yeah.
And then you just got to jump in and just try to bridge that gap, to offer that love language to your partner.
Jono?
What are the love languages? I've heard talk about that. I want to make sure I know what
they're according to Gary Chapman, because he wrote the book years ago. Right. There's 5. There's quality time, physical touch, gifts, acts of service, and
isn't it words of
affirmation?
Words of affirmation.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So I think to answer your question, there's some degree of mutual obligations in that regard, right? The giver of the love has to make sure they're giving the love in accordance with their significant other's love language. So if I know my spouse's love language is acts of service, then if I'm trying to be romantic, I should do some sort of act of service.
Right.
And the flip side of that is that if I'm the receiver of the love, my duty is to make sure my spouse knows what my love language is, so that when she tries to be romantic with me, she does it in a way that I'm receptive to. So if my wife is trying to be romantic, but she does it in a way that doesn't align with my love language, that's probably my fault for not telling her or making it clear what it is.
Mm, yeah. Yeah.
Especially when you're in a long-term
I would
relationship.
agree with that.
Yeah,
Partners
early on,
yeah.
there's some wiggle room there, but when you've been together for a decade or more, by then you should have some idea. Even if you don't use the term love language, you should have some idea as to what your spouse likes, what gets them going, what makes them feel special, so you do it. So,
Right.
so there's some trial and error involved, but there's also a large degree of communication that's required on both ends as well.
Yeah.
And you
I
might have
agree with that.
several. You might have more than one or two.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Most people typically have two top love languages. And just like you said, John, it's important for partners to communicate with each other so that they are able to speak their partner's love language. Because if you don't know, and if your partner doesn't share, then you're going to be kind of guessing it and winging it. I'm not a fan of that statement. Well, he should know or she should know. No, our partners know what we tell them. Go ahead, Frank.
Like you said, he should know, she should know thing doesn't. Because for me, it took me a while to understand love language and then to figure out what was really mine.
I know you didn't know yourself.
Val would ask me, "What's your love language?" What? I don't know. But for me,
Dad, you're a man. It's physical touch. I guarantee it. You're a man. So.
My love language, mine is just words of affirmation. That for me is number one.
Right.
You know, to hear things, to be told things. That's my love language. I can hear that and I could cry and everything else. I'll be good.
Oh Lord.
It took me a while to really understand, because like Val, quality time in words of affirmation.
No. Quality time and physical touch.
Oh, I'm sorry. I said words of affirmation. Right.
That's yours.
Now she would tell me, but because I wasn't really listening, I would do other things and wondering why she wasn't happy or why I wasn't doing anything. And she would say, "Well, Frank, I appreciate you vacuuming or washing the walls because you see a dirt or some speck or this, but Frank, that's not my love language."
No.
You can't say to me, "Frank, well, Val, I did this." Well, thank you, honey. But that's not what I told you my love language is.
Absolutely.
And I would buck against it. Well, I'm doing this. Why that's not enough?
Yeah.
So finally, it took a while to say, you know what?
A long time.
You're hearing this. It's important. She's telling you. So do that. If she just want to sit on the couch and be in arm's distance, then sit your, I can curse?
Just say rusty dusty.
Okay, rusty dusty on the couch.
I have to say our love language would be laughter.
No, your love language.
My love language would be laughter. Because
well, that's not one though. That's not one of the five.
Well, I'm saying what I feel, that makes me happy.
He added the sixth one.
Right, yeah, that's a new one. Yeah.
Exactly.
Add it because that's what makes me happy with her.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's what really counts, because Frank used to go out and in the wintertime, and I really love it. He would shovel my car out, and that's fine, but I could pay somebody to do that. What I really want is I want you to sit next to me. I want to touch you. Now that speaks to my heart, because I could pay the boy down the street $5 or $10. Okay, clean my car off, shovel the snow, if whatever they need to do. I can pay someone to do that. So that doesn't really that don't move me. I appreciate it, but it don't move me.
Well, what's that guy's name if you pay him $5 or $10 so he can come and do mine this year?
No, but these are kids. A neighborhood kid, you would give them $10 and they'll do it. And with inflation, how much do you have to pay those boys
in car now? I charge $25.
Yeah, exactly, Frank. Exactly. Nothing less.
I think we kind of hit on this next question about how romance changes as we mature, and I think we kind of already talked about that. It's not realistic to expect the same level of passion. Or is it? What if one partner does expect the same level of passion as they get older?
Well, or you maybe being, I think you would be, it's okay maybe to expect it, but you have to have a conversation because I think it's unrealistic to put the pressure on your spouse or the relationship expecting me to do the same things the same way I did when I was 20 and everything else. So if you expecting that kind of intimacy and romance, baby.
Well, you're speaking more from a sexual point of view, right?
I'm talking about the whole caboodle. I mean, whatever it is,
It gets harder, Frank. It gets harder.
Yes.
Because you didn't get over 40-something years together. You didn't did everything, and you're still trying to figure out new ways to do stuff, and it's hard.
Yeah.
You gotta get
but
creative.
see, that's the thing. You got to be creative. And see, I read a lot, and I read a lot of not just romance novels. I read a lot of erotica novels, and I get some great ideas in those books. I'd be trying to get Frank to read with me. Let's join some. And there's one of my authors in particular. I love that she has what do you call it? Not pictures, so to speak, but drawings in some of her books. And I look at some of that and I said, Frank, we should try this. We should try that. And Frank said, no, we too old for that.
Listen, those are just words. See, Val always talk about we should try this, we should try that. But just last week she said, Frank, my knees hurt. I can't get on my knees like I used to.
Ew.
John said y'all going too far now.
In a relationship as you get older, maybe you can do some of the same things. You just can't do them as long.
Well, true.
And stuff hurt when you move,
Yeah. But see, we've gotten now on the topic more of sexual intimacy, but we also want to talk about romance because that doesn't die. Or it shouldn't. It changes.
It changes, Romance could be a note I leave on the fridge, or text or call or something along those lines. That doesn't take too much energy or thought, So,
That's true. True that. So what about the importance of appreciation and gratitude in a long-term relationship? What are some meaningful ways that couples can express that?
Gratitude.
Yeah. I think you could simply saying it goes a long way because a lot of times, like you mentioned earlier, taking things for granted. Like if your spouse is consistently doing things that you're appreciative of, they're not doing it because they want something in return. I hope. But if you simply make sure they know that you appreciate it, I think that goes a long way. Like sometimes if Liz cooks something, I'll make sure I tell her that I really appreciated that tonight. Like I don't want you to think you have to cook every night. I'm not that type of guy, but when you do, I appreciate it. And vice versa. If I'm doing something, if there's some chore that needs to be done, I don't do it expecting her to say, hey, thank you or whatever. But when she does say it, it makes me feel special. So I think just simply communicating the fact that you're grateful and that you're appreciative goes a long way. And it's more likely to trigger them to do it again. So I think that's what helps.
Very true.
Not the comment I might get, well, you're a man, you're supposed to do that.
Well, I do say that sometimes.
I should just be messing with me. Like, it's okay.
Say that. Yeah, I mess around with it.
Because sometimes I'll be looking for that thank you. I was like, well, damn, babe, I just did. The least you can do is say thank you. Well, that's what you're supposed to do.
I just say that sometimes, but more thank you. So, anyone who
think it's natural.
Oh, sorry.
No, I was saying sometimes they just think it's something that you just normally do or you should be doing anyway. So, I don't expect anything from it.
Yeah, there's something that comes with those gonads, But anywho, if anyone has a comment or question, put it in the chat. Just put it on up there. I want to piggyback on something that you said, John. You said doing something for your partner and not just because you want a thank you or because you expect a thank you, but what about when there's no reciprocity in the relationship, when it's kind of one-sided and one partner is more intentional about speaking the love language of the other? What about
Well,
that? The lack of
fortunately,
reciprocity.
I don't have that problem, so I can't speak to it. I know my wife is watching, so I'm choosing my words carefully. But I think seriously though, if there's an issue, it's incumbent on you to speak about it. And I say that knowing full well that I tend to be very passive aggressive. So if something is bothering me, I might not say it outright. I may just huff and puff or make some snide remarks. And then when she asks me, "Hey, what's wrong?" then I might go into my diatribe, and that's not very healthy, but I do it. So I have to acknowledge that. But at the end of the day, at some point, if something's bothering you, it has to be discussed and addressed at some point. So if your spouse is not reciprocating, the easier thing to do is just outright say it. If you're me, you'll dance around the topic until they ask about it. And look, Liz just commented, "You better." But it's all about communication. I think everybody agrees that in relationships, romantic or otherwise, communication is one of the most important things. So if you feel like you're not being appreciated or you're not no reciprocity, then you have to speak on it. How you go about it is up to you to decide.
Yeah. I would definitely agree with that. You have to speak on it. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Elaine.
No, I was saying I was definitely, that's the first thing that came to my mind was to communicate. That has to be communicated for sure. It has to be discussed and talked about, because if you keep it in, how is the other person supposed to know? And then that could build up anxiety and resentment, and it definitely has to be communicated.
Yeah. Because the other partner may think that they're doing okay. They may think that they're doing a better job than they're actually doing.
Right.
And if we don't talk about it, then they won't really know. Some people shy away from having those conversations, but I think I look at it as you're kind of giving your partner a gift when you have those types of conversations with them, because now you are providing space and an opportunity for the two of you to work together to make whatever improvements are needed in the relationship. What do you? Oh, Miss D just said, "I enjoy vacations and weekend trips together, which is quality time, acts of service, and gifts all in one." Yeah, that's right, Miss D. That hits all of them. When you go on a weekend getaway, yeah, that kind of hits all of those love languages. And to talk about communication, communication is important, but what's most important is to be able to communicate effectively. Because if we're just talking and talking and talking and we're not really coming to an understanding, or we're communicating in an ineffective manner, then we're not really doing anything. We're just kind of spinning our wheels. And the goal with communication is to be able to do it effectively. What do you say, babe?
I would agree. I had a statement. I lost it. It went somewhere. See, that's what happened when you get old.
I talk too much.
Well, yeah, that's of course. Always.
And you know what? I don't even apologize for it. I know I talk a whole lot.
Do your thing,
I'll
baby.
talk you up one side and down the other and back around again. I just love to talk.
You know, I guess what was it? I swear it's
I
on
did
the
it
tip.
again?
No, it has nothing to do with you.
Okay, what happened?
That communication about a lot of times Val would tell me things that she would want me to do. I'm trying to fill in the blanks here.
Okay.
And I would hear it, but it took me a long time. I'm still learning how to hear it and do. See, so I'll hear one thing, but again, do something else, and then get pissed when she come to me and say, "Well, that's not what I wanted you to do, but that's not how I wanted you to do it. Do it for me." I swear, I'm lost. I'm babbling.
Okay. Yeah, but I know what you're talking about, because there's certain things that I will ask. I'll ask Frank to do, and he won't do them, but he'll go and he'll turn something just rearrange stuff And I said, but that's not what I asked you to do. Now you done discombobulated something that I had already put together because you got a notion. But that's not what I asked you to do. I asked you to do something all the way over on the other side. But I did this. I said, I know, babe. Okay, but that's not what I asked you to do. And sometimes he done discombobulated stuff and end up having to put it back together. You just did that in the kids' playroom the other day.
Oh yeah. It's like I need to ask permission to rearrange furniture in the place I live. So she put it this way. I mean, we're off topic a little bit, but it's just funny. It's really funny how relationships work, the dynamics of people living together long term, how you think you're doing something for your spouse, but really you're doing it for yourself because you don't like the way it looks. And then you get pissed when they say something about, you know, just say thank you because I moved the bed. And somebody got to bother me about because it ain't where you want it. It's funny. And that's part what keeps that connection, that relationship, that kind of intimacy going in a relationship. You can be upset, but you laugh about it and you blow it off and like, wow. Here we are still talking crazy.
Yeah, and we can do that now, but there was a time when something like that, we would have almost had fisticuffs. We would have had verbal fisticuffs as a result of something like that. Now, at the end of it, we can laugh about it. That
comes to maturity, longevity.
Yeah.
You know, listen, I don't care. I'll put it back. Whatever. I'm done. I want to or something.
No, Frank, you know what? You want to hear something, some crazy stuff? You know the crazy thing is that my wife, she did a little something last weekend for one of her little podcast things and stuff. So she asked me to put up a step and repeat for her, right? So, okay. I said, well, honey, where you want the step and repeat to go? She said, well, just put it anywhere you want to put it up. I said, okay. So I put it up in the office upstairs, in the bedroom upstairs. Then she decides, I don't want to do that. I don't want to use that no more. I said, okay, so what are you going to use? She says, I'll figure it out. So I told her, well, use the office. So she used the office. So I took the step and repeat down. And 10 minutes later, she goes, why'd you take it down? Because I wanted to do something at the step and repeat. I'm like, yo, you didn't tell me that. So
what did you call that? Step and repeat?
She wanted me to put it back up. Yeah, step and repeat. It's like a
background
drop.
It's a background
drop. Okay.
I'm like, oh gosh.
But Jimmy is too fast. You'll tell him one thing, and he's very good at executing things. But he's too fast sometimes. He works faster than my thinking. So he's always like 2 steps ahead of me. And I'm like, wait a minute. Okay, you put it up already. Okay, I don't want it up now. You got to take it down. Okay, move it to the other room. He'll move it to the other room. Now, okay, move it to the back room. So
you see where I'm going?
He's moving. I need time to process.
You see where I'm going? It's like with me, it's like, okay, you
process. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, your cousin here, he has the opposite problem. He don't move fast enough. And I ask, this is how it typically goes, right? I'll ask for something. I'll wait at least a week before I'll ask again. Then I'll wait at least another 2 weeks before I ask again. And then, after maybe a whole month, a month and a half has passed, I'll ask again. And now by this time, he's pissed because I'm asking him 4 times already. But I wouldn't have to ask a second time if you would just go ahead on and do it.
It's crazy. I wanted to say she's embellishing, but some of that is true. I don't know if it's a month later, but then I hear myself saying, well, damn, just give me some time to do it. She said, well, Frank, I asked you a month ago. I'm like, really?
Yeah. This is how he says I'm embellishing. This is how real it is. I actually bought him a t-shirt that says, you don't have to ask me twice. I said I would do it 6 months ago.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. That's funny.
Yeah, so he has maybe you guys could meet somewhere in the middle. Jimmy, you slow down, and Lovey, you speed up. 'Cause that's kind of
Uh,
what y'all need.
okay.
So I want to ask y'all, what is one piece of advice that you would give to couples who are looking to strengthen their bond and work at ensuring that their love will last for a lifetime?
Communication.
I mean, yeah, that
Mm.
just and that sounds so like mundane,
But it is
but it's
addictive.
so
Mhm.
important. It's so important
Mm.
because you have no
Yeah.
room for assumptions.
Right.
You know, communication is so important. I mean, is this was such a
Mhm.
traditional answer, but it's key. It's so key.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. John, what do you say?
So I think, and I say this knowing that one of my love languages is physical touch, but I think you have to maintain that physical connection. I'm gonna leave it at that for
Mm.
PG-13. But I think that most relationships, the initial spark is some sort of physical attraction, right? Even if you're not planning on maintaining a long-term intimate relationship, there's some physical attraction that brings you towards somebody. So to the
Right.
extent you're physically able to do so, I think it's important to maintain that physical connection as often as
Mhm.
possible. Because
As
and,
often as
and if you
possible.
do that as often as possible, all the circumstances being are what they are. Because I think when you
Mm.
do that, there's certain chemical processes that go on in your brain. Where if you're having problems, if you're having issues, and then what they call endorphins start firing off in your head and
Yeah.
all that, it
Yeah.
brings you closer. You realize, I actually love this person. Like all the other nonsense that we're dealing with is actually nonsense. Like it brings you back towards that initial spark that brought you together. That was
Yeah.
the catalyst for everything else. So I think it's
Mhm.
Mm.
important to just keep that physical connection going. If there's obviously going to be some lags in between and some up and down moments, but don't forget what got you here initially.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. That's good. That's good. I
Mhm.
do. I do think that ongoing physical connection is absolutely important. Um, and some people think that it matters more to the husband than it does to the wife, but I think it matters just as much to us as it does to them.
Hmm.
What do you say, Elaine?
I would totally agree. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
She gets you
Yeah.
out of it.
My
She
mama
gets
used
you
to
out
say,
of it.
you got what was that old saying? You got to bring some to get some. So yeah,
Mhm.
it matters to both people involved in the relationship, and it's not
Yeah.
just for the man. And it really bothers me sometimes when I hear women speak about physical intimacy as if it's just for the man's benefit. It's really
Mhm.
for the benefit of the relationship,
Mhm.
Appreciate.
because
Right.
that can help to maintain that connection. And anything that a couple can do, whether it's physical, emotional, intellectual, spiritual, whatever a couple can do to help to maintain that connection, I think that they should do it. Whatever
Right.
that is, whatever it looks like.
And
Because it'll look different
and something
for different couples. Hmm.
I want to add on that too is it's not just like the sexual aspect of it. When I say physical, it could also mean just holding hands, just touching each other. If you're just sitting on the couch and cuddling
Yeah.
up, that can open the pathways to deeper conversation. Or
Right.
just if you go to bed at
Mm,
night,
mhm.
if you might sleep on different sides of the bed, but it makes sense to start out cuddling or spooning or just touching each other because again, it
Yeah.
strengthens that bond. All the hormones go off, all the endorphins, all that stuff starts firing when you're actually touching somebody that you have a passion
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. That makes a big difference. I know there was a time, I don't think it's like that now, but there was a time when I would always have my hand up under Frank at some point, when I fell asleep. Because if I wasn't touching him, I would have difficulty falling asleep.
for.
And there are times when he's not here, I can't even sleep in the bed. I'll sleep on the couch because it doesn't feel right being in the bed
Hmm.
without him.
Mm.
Right.
And even if we're not touching, just knowing that he's there in the bed next to me. So yeah,
Right.
I
I was laughing and chuckling when I heard that comment.
Right.
Yeah, I can't sleep. If my hand ain't here, I can't sleep. She gonna say that while she awake, cause her ass go to sleep. She don't want to sleep in the bed. But wherever she parking, she going to sleep. Don't give me that. Well, you wasn't here. I couldn't sleep. How come you sound like you were drunk?
I have trouble sleeping in the bed. I'll sleep on the couch
Yeah,
sometimes.
whatever. Okay, baby. But you go to sleep, man. You go to sleep. I call her. Oh, I couldn't sleep, babe. I couldn't sleep. I said, why you sound like you sleep drunk? The sound you hear on the phone, somebody's been sleeping and drooling all over the pillow.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my
Knocked
goodness.
out.
It felt like I was having trouble.
Yeah.
Oh. Oh, okay. Hammy, what did Hammy say?
That's so
Hold on, I'm trying to say it. Said, I wanted to keep a hand on you to make sure you didn't leave in the middle of the night.
Yes, I ain't doing that.
All right, son. All right.
That's funny.
So, Elaine, talk to us about your podcast.
Oh, so it's not actually, it wasn't a podcast, actually it was a Zoom. And it was
oh, right. I saw that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was entitled Breathe with Elaine. And it was geared for women.
Mm-hmm.
And because as we get age, we know that this is the time where disease and chronic illnesses usually pops up around our age.
Right.
So it was just a Zoom encouraging women 40 and over to take action in their health, and to take action in physical activity, and watch what you eat. So it was that's basically what it was. And a lot of times when we're under stress and the pressures of life, we don't breathe. You know, God has given me that word breathe for 2025, that we have to breathe. When you breathe, it just changes your perspective on a lot of things. So it was just encouragement for women specifically to take better health, better care of themselves as we age.
I'm trying to put this banner up in my thing. Are you going to do it again? Are you going to do another one?
I am in 2025, top of 2025. I'm going to have another one.
Okay. And you have a Facebook group, Breathe.
Yes, for Breathe for Ashes. Yeah, it's a Facebook group, Breathe with Elaine, and then also Beauty for Ashes, which is a Christian ministry for women, an encouragement Christian ministry for women to uplift women daily, and not really specifically women, but just people in general, because during this time we need God's word to kind of like propel us through our day and our week and our year.
So it's Beauty for Ashes Facebook group, and Breathe with Elaine is also a Facebook group. And in the beginning of 2025, you're going to have another Zoom meeting talking about topics of health, physical, mental, and emotional well-being.
Yes. For women over 40.
Over 40.
Yes.
Yeah. So them youngins can just send their mom in them.
Yeah. Yes. They could join as well, but really targeting towards older women.
Yeah.
Because we think as we get older, because we tend to think as we get older, we can't really, of course, our movement is hindering, but it's kind of towards older women, because at that stage, that's when chronic diseases really start to kind of like pop up.
Yeah. That's so true. That's so true. And sometimes we tend to overlook all that stuff.
Yeah. And it's all in what we eat.
And I like that. I like that. I like your approach. You take a very holistic approach to health and to well-being. So thank you for that. And when are you have you thought about putting together a book or a journal or something of that sort?
I've thought about like a digital magazine actually. Everything is digital now. Nothing is
Mm-hmm.
really hard copy anymore. But yeah, I'm trying to get together, putting together like a digital magazine specifically for like Beauty for Ashes with scriptures and pictures, kind of like same how the Facebook
Yeah.
page is kind of like, laid out, but that in a digital
Yeah.
magazine.
Okay. All right. I look forward to that,
Mhm.
cousin. So I want to thank you guys for being here this evening. Those who are watching, just give a shout out to our guests. Um, I appreciate you. Anyone who has not already done so, it would be great if you would subscribe to the YouTube channel and hit that notification bell. And that way you could be notified for upcoming podcasts. Be here with us next week. We're going to have the person I call one of my favorite people on the planet. Dr. Danita is going to be here talking about imposter syndrome, what that is, and how to overcome it. And unfortunately, a lot of us women either have suffered from or are suffering from imposter syndrome. So I think that'll be a great, great topic for us to talk about. So I will see you all next week. Thank you so much for being here. Miss D said, great. Thank you so much. And thank you for being here, Miss D. So I will see you all next week. Y'all have a great,
Yeah.
great week.
All
Thank
right.
Guys.
you. Thank
All
you.
right. Thank